Europe is falling apart. Its tax system squeezes you dry, its digital control monitors you, its culture is dissolving, and its demographic future is a ticking time bomb. Agenda 2030, mass immigration without integration, unaffordable housing, and programmable digital currencies are not distant threats. They are already here. The European Union has stopped being a project of freedom and has turned into a machine of technocratic submission. That's why opening your eyes is not enough, you need a escape plan. And that plan begins with getting a second passport and second nationality or citizenship. These citizenships can be purchases earned by merit or acquired by living a certain number of years in a given country. It all depends on where you were born to see if the naturalization period can be shortened, but first, we have Mexico. In Mexico, you can obtain citizenship in just 2 years from the moment you get temporary residency if you are Spanish or from a country with bilateral agreements. We are talking about needing to stay for a period of 24 months, at least 18 of them physically present, meaning a minimum absence of 6 months during those 24 months. If you are not from a country with such agreements, many people opt for 1 year temporary residency, then renew it for another 3 years, and once they have permanent residency, they stay in the country for 2 years. Others enter Mexico as tourists, have a child there, who automatically becomes a Mexican citizen due to birthright citizenship, and the parents then obtain permanent residency directly, live in the country for 2 years, and that's it. If you choose this birthright route by having a child, be cautious about where you get the documents, because although the law says you are entitled to them, authorities might make it harder if they suspect you are doing it intentionally. It may be more convenient to first apply for temporary residency, then have the child, and move to permanent residency without complications. During those 2 required years of residence, many don't want to pay taxes in Mexico given the high tax section. However, under Mexican law, it's technically possible to remain a non-resident for tax purposes even if you live in the country full-time, but this has to be handled very carefully and depends on your structure, the other country where you are tax resident, and whether there is a reciprocal tax regime. If you are a tax resident, there is the RECICO regime, which allows individuals under this scheme to pay a progressive rate between 1 and 2.5% on income on total billing. So if you have a high profit business, you will pay very little in tax. Of course, there is a billing limit around 3.5 million pesos, which is about $170,000 or approximately 150,000 euros. Personally, I'm a temporary resident in Mexico. I'm still deciding whether I will pursue Mexican citizenship or not, but for now, I'm at least a resident. And if I keep my schedule in order and visit often enough, I will eventually become a permanent resident for life. There is also citizenship by merit or exception, where if you invest large sums in the country or donate significant amounts in the underdeveloped areas, the government may grant you citizenship, seeing you as a valuable contributor even if you haven't met the 2 years residency requirement. Mexico isn't the only country offering this. Argentina is another example. Until recently, Argentina was one of the easiest countries for acquiring citizenship. Even without legal residency, you could request citizenship and nationality almost instantly. That has now changed. They currently require continuous residency and no absence whatsoever during 24 months period. Previously, like in Mexico, a few months away each year were allowed, but no longer. Now you must be present every single day for 2 years for your application to be processed. A decree by President Milei, known as DNU or DNU, is in effect, and we will have to see whether it's overturned or remains. For now, it's an option for those ready to settle down in permanent and obtain citizenship. Native Argentinians cannot renounce their citizenship, but naturalized citizens can, through a legal process. It's not quick or simple, but it is possible. This is of interest to many people for 2 reasons. First, to benefit from the citizenship rights. Second, because some want to avoid future obligations, like potential passport-based taxation, like in the US. I don't see Argentina adopting that in the short or medium term, though the European Union might bet them to it. France already proposed such a measure in a national assembly. It's something to keep in mind. In Argentina, you can apply for temporary residency as a rentier and live in the country during that time. Like in Mexico, it's also possible to gain Argentina citizenship without spending a single day in the country. If you make the right investments that benefit local communities, the immigration institution may grant you citizenship by exception or citizenship by investment as an honorable act. Continuing through Mercosur, we come to Paraguay. As the trendy country for tax residency, many also seek citizenship, a neutral country, not involved in international conflicts, and a passport with decent mobility. In Paraguay, you can apply for temporary or permanent residency by investing $70,000, but not by purchasing real estate. Instead, you must create a business, present a real business plan, and hire local staff. You become eligible for citizenship after 3 years of permanent residency with physical presence and/or community ties. Many clients ask me, what does it mean to have ties to the country? It's simple. Ties mean paying taxes in Paraguay, owning business, land, apartments, being truly integrated into Paraguayan culture, making donations to certain institutions, and with that, your application can be processed without issues. I have seen cases of people who obtain citizenship without living there and others who obtain it after living there. It all depends on your degree of connections. Tax-wise, as you know, Paraguay is fantastic, both for its territorial taxation system and its tax policies, even if you operate a local business. Since you pay 10% after deductible expenses, you can end up paying very little if you find a good investment opportunity. There is also Uruguay, with a similar territorial tax system, offering several types of residency and citizenship eligibility between 3 to 5 years depending on whether you establish family ties. I haven't lived long enough in Uruguay, so I can recommend it as confidently as Mexico or Paraguay, where I have spent more time alongside Cyprus and other countries. But one thing I like about Uruguay is that starting this year, they removed birthplace details from their passport. Before, when you traveled with a naturalized Uruguayan passport and were originally from, say, Bolivia or Ecuador, you could be denied entry Schengen because your place of birth didn't qualify for visa-free access. That's now gone. I haven't seen any cases of merit-based citizenship or naturalizations in Uruguay with minimal time in the country and strong ties. So yes, you will need to live there continuously for the full duration to get citizenship. The same goes for Brazil. If you establish a significant family bond, you can obtain citizenship relatively quickly. Otherwise, it can take years between temporary and permanent residency. Personally, I wouldn't pursue Brazilian citizenship unless I had a child or a spouse in the country. But if you do have a child, it reduces the path to just 1 year. Like in Mexico, you receive PR, and during that period, you must live in the country for 9 months to apply. Your child would automatically be a Brazilian citizen due to birthright. Many also obtain Brazilian citizenship in other ways, such as being from a Portuguese-speaking country. Even those not from such countries have earned citizenship by merit or by naturalizing elsewhere and then leveraging those treaties. That's because within the community of Portuguese language countries, no distinction is made between citizens by birth and naturalized citizens. This means you can gain citizenship in one of these smaller countries, then gain Brazilian citizenship in just 1 year without having a child or marrying, holding a passport with excellent international reputation. It's possible, not easy, but it's great under the radar strategy. Many compare it to Spain's fast-track citizenship for Latin American nationals, but to me, it's different. Spain's system only applies if you are originally from a country with a treaty. It doesn't apply to naturalized citizens or Mexico or naturalized Spaniards. It simple doesn't work that way. That's why there is a major opportunity within the Portuguese-speaking countries alliance. The Spanish passport, as you know, is top tier, world class. For now, there is nothing wrong with it, and hopefully it stayed that way. But we might see passport-based taxation and other restrictive measures, which I hope won't happen, but the logic behind them makes sense. Many are already draft laws or legislative proposals. Let's move to the Dominican Republic, the DR, a place Spanish politicians like to visit, not just for the citizenship or lack of extradition, but for the beaches, the absence of CRS, and the shady money flowing in through disclosed deals. In the DR, you can get residency, live there for 2 years, and get citizenship and a passport. All the countries we have mentioned so far have decent passport with access to Asia, Europe, and Latin America. That's not the case for the Dominican passport. It's relatively weak in terms of travel freedom, so it's better suited as a third or fourth passport, not a second. You must reside there continuously to apply. I have seen cases where the process gets expedited through investment, usually when someone buys multiple properties at least worth $200,000. Right now, with tension easing along the Haitian border, they are granting citizenship in under a year, even without actual residency. One of my team members secured it for a client successfully, but unlike the other countries, this process is far less predictable and depends more on external than internal factors. These are a part of the main options currently available. There may be others. For now, if you're interested in any of these or in gaining citizenship without living there, by merit or exception, you can fill out the form and we will take a closer look together.